All right, you ready to run this puppy over?
I am ready to run this puppy over. You recording on your end?
Yeah, I've been for like 10 minutes.
All right, so have I. I got about 11 and a half minutes there already. All right.
Give you plenty to cut out.
Oh, yes. Here we go. Welcome back to Dad's Meet World. I am Dad number one this week, welcoming you into your weekly dose of Corey, Sean, Topanga. And this week, I think Corey's got some mono. I think Dad number two gave it to him. Dad number two, who are you?
My name is Tyler. I've never had mono, never will have mono. That's my official stance.
You know, I've never had mono either. There was a time in high school where I wasn't really fearful I'd get it because I was homeschooled, as mentioned many times on this podcast, but I've never had it. And it was the thing in the 90s that was, you know, it was the kissing disease.
The kissing disease.
Yeah. Yeah. So how are you doing this week, Tyler?
I'm doing pretty good. Got a puppy dog sitting right beside me, just chilling. We just finished up school last week as of recording. I'm driving school bus for summer school, so that's been fun. I have this little mini bus that I'm driving. I'm going on like dirt roads, and I have like a lift in the back, and so that's been really fun listening to that as it bounces back around on our dirt roads. So, you know, fun times all around.
Sounds like fun.
Oh yeah, but Grayston finished up kindergarten, so the wife and I.
That was really the wrong woo.
The wife and I had slight, little breakdown of, oh my gosh, our little guy's getting big. And they didn't do a kindergarten graduation, which is ridiculous, and I'm still upset about it.
You should take it up with the PTA or the PTO.
Yes, PTO. Well, luckily, I know someone on the PTO. Mm-hmm. But, yeah. Oh, well. How are you, Brett? What's new with you?
Oh, I am recovering from exhaustion. Last week I spent most of the week running like a constipated wiener dog at the annual conference. So I was up from dawn till well past dusk, taking photographs, editing video, monitoring social media, and about 9 other tasks each day. Nice. And so that was my Tuesday through Saturday. And then on Friday, I get a phone call. And Kelly informs me, because Toby has gone on a mission trip all this week down in Florence, South Carolina. And so we knew he was getting ready for it. He had to leave at like 5:30 in the morning on Sunday. And we had been on a few waiting lists for camp for Asher. He had never been to a summer camp before. Well, she got an email on like Thursday night welcoming him to a camp. So he's off at camp this week, and we just dropped him off on Monday morning. And so
nice.
He's never been to summer camp before, about to enter 4th grade. And, he wasn't sure what to make of it, but he was very excited, and
he'll have a good time.
Oh yeah. We've seen a few pictures already. He's having a blast. They already did their turn your counselor into a Sunday on the first day. So
nice.
They are having a great day. It's Tuesday when we're recording, and he's having a blast that we can see so far. And
it's literally just you, Kelly, the animals, and the quiet one.
Exactly.
It's almost like there's no kids there.
I know. It is so quiet. It really is. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very nice.
So it's very quiet around here. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So it's very quiet here on the homestead.
You could force your other child to go somewhere else. You don't have to think about anyone else being there.
We're working on it. We're trying. We've already tried to make her make plans.
Your uncles, grandparents.
Well, she's got a good. Her bestie is already given a couple of days this week that they can get together and do stuff. So,
should we get to that synopsis?
I think we should before I get sneezed on and catch some mono over here. Today, we're going to take a look at episode 18 of season 2, By Hook or by Crook.
Not on the other side of the tracks.
No, not on the other side of the tracks, which Tyler will be very prepared for next week. Good looking people. Now, in this episode, a pretty history tutor helps Eric cheat on a test because she finds him to be attractive. Corey, meanwhile, tells Topanga he had mono from kissing another girl. This episode was written by Jeff Manel, directed by David Traynor, originally aired on February 17th, 1995, and currently enjoys an IMDb rating of 7.8. Now, let's take a look at our new favorite game sensation that is sweeping the nation.
Vast emotional damage.
Woo!
So, Tyler, our previous episode had a Nielsen rating of 18.8. Good looking people, that's 18.8 million people that tuned in for the premiere of our last episode, which was, 17, I believe that was not an episode that Tyler enjoyed.
What episode was that?
17 is On the Air.
Oh, that's right.
So,
Sorry.
Tyler, with previously On the Air having 18.8 million, what do you think By Hook or by Crook had for a Nielsen rating, middle of February?
You know what? Let's go with 20.
Jump up to 20. You have lost the prices right.
Oh.
Bum, bum, bum. Well, it's not the right one that I was thinking of, but
That works.
I must have taken it off the board. I had the I used to have the Price is Right sound effect on there.
Dun, 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 dun.
No,
Dun,
the one
dun,
that you get
dun.
when you lose. It was only 17.7 million.
Yeah,
Little-
I figured
little
I had a
dip.
gut feeling it was going to be lower, but I like this one more than the last one, so I wanted to go higher.
Yes. Well, let's dive right in. We're going to start out in the Matthews kitchen. Jason and Eric. We're getting Jason back this week. Get some good stuff there already.
Yeah, Jason, like right off the bat in this episode too.
Oh, yeah. He and Eric are coming into the kitchen table. They are planning a trip to Europe for the summer, and I'm interested in some of the book titles that they're using to plan their vacation.
Europe on a student's budget, backpacking your way through Italy.
Nude beaches on $5 a day.
You know, where would you put the $5?
The first couple are all right. Nude beaches on $5 a day. I'm not really keen on a nude beach.
No.
I can't say I'd be keen on my high school sophomore going to a nude beach halfway around the world either. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even think we want to get into it, but just the there's nothing about that is let's move on.
All right, so let's move past the uncomfortable topic. But there is another book that Alan says Eric needs to read up on.
Oh, Eric, you know, there's a new book out on Europe that you may have missed. It's called Nobody's Going to Europe If Their Grades Don't Come Up.
Oh, I read that one. I couldn't put it down.
So, how's it end? Well, it's not clear. You see, the main character's parents just got a note from his teacher, Mr. Feeney, that says he's not doing so well in European history.
But see, Dad, that's why I'm not doing well, because I don't have any hands-on European experience, you know?
That's why we're going to Europe, to get our hands on something.
Eric, if I don't see a B average, you're going to be touring the continent from behind your summer school desk.
Okay, a B average. See, that's not a problem. So what do I need for that? Like, B's?
Yeah, I'd like to see some of those, and also some of those little letters that look like TPs.
A's.
Okay, just hold on a moment. Just
Okay.
I get this is episode as the episode. But you're telling me that Amy and Alan are okay with Eric going to Europe. From what we can tell, it's not a school trip.
No.
It's just the two of them going to Europe by themselves with no one else there.
Yeah.
Like, I know they mentioned that Amy wanted to go to Paris and Alan promised and yada yada, and that's going to happen. But like, it would legitimately be one thing if they were actually taking a European studies class and there is an actual trip that they can pay for to go on to, where every day they will travel to a new city, new country, yada yada, in an extensive actual program. But this literally just feels like it's just them wanting to go to Europe, which as we know, and maybe some of our dear younger viewers don't know, Europe is a really big place. You can't tackle that within 3 days like they may think they can, or maybe some of these writers think you can. But yeah, this is a hardcore episode has to episode, and an evil Knievel leap in logic that I don't know if I can really get behind, of Alan and Amy allowing their maybe 17-year-old to go to another continent.
It is a leap, especially considering Eric was just 1 or 2 episodes previously sitting at home, unable to date because his allowance was not permitting him to. And this would be a sizable financial commitment. Yeah, I mean, Eric and Amy did backpack through Europe, but I'm also assuming they were older than Eric as well. And perhaps even if you want to headcanon, they're putting such a high expectation on Eric because they anticipate him not being able to. You can headcanon that. I personally don't, because that kind of undercuts their story. But yes, it's definitely an episode got an episode. It's definitely buying into the zeitgeist in the 90s of teenagers going on a European trip. It's Jeff Manel doing a little bit of just trying to reach for something, some big thing that Eric wants to do. It would have been better for him to pull in maybe a cross-country road trip. That would have been a little more believable. But,
well, okay.
Yes.
I would even argue that this is one of those deals where they made with him of, hey, for the next 2 years, if you have good grades, we'll pay for you to go to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
That I can believe, like hey, we graduated from high school, we're going to Europe before we go off to school. That makes sense. Now, also Eric traveling around the country also makes sense, but it's just literally just a only time we're going to hear about a potential Europe trip, and that's it.
Yeah. Definitely episode's got an episode.
Yep.
Yeah. So we'll put that aside. We'll move on. We're coming into the school. In Mr. Turner's classroom, Sean is informing Topanga that Corey's out sick. Well, how sick? He's out sick on film strip day in sex ed. Oh, dear. That is sick.
Yeah. Now, this is the same young man who just last year around this time was making fart jokes during the puberty video. So
yes, he was.
Things have really changed.
From his teenager.
Yes.
Yeah, and I did notice that Corey was kind of sounded kind of froggy last episode, so perhaps even they wrote in a little bit of perhaps they even wrote in this story plot for him. But
Brett,
I know.
your naivety.
Perhaps giving the writers a little too much credit, but still. I know. Hey, he's only in 2 scenes the entire episode, and he's the focus of the show.
I know, but
anyway.
I guess this is a good point to get to. This is really an Eric-centric episode.
It is. Eric is the focus of this entire episode, and he carries it well.
Yeah, he does. And I have to say, just I could watch all of the Eric-led episodes, like one right after the other, and have a good time because they always put Corey in these weird kind of situations of like justifying why the story isn't about him. Mm-hmm. This is just a way to give Ben, I almost said Ben Savage, kind of a break and, breathe a little bit. Mm-hmm. And even, as you progress, like him actually going to do classes and whatnot and take finals. But, just anytime you have an Eric Central episode, there's always something important that he's doing. And Corey just has these really weird scenes, but they also are still pushing his character along. I mean, my favorite is in season 4 when he's avoiding Sean because Sean has chickenpox and he doesn't want to get it.
I just watched that one the other day.
Mm-hmm. It's a classic.
It is.
So, yeah, just another. This is the first in many of Eric's centralized episodes, and everyone does a great job. There's no way around it.
They do. So Mr. Turner comes in. He took the bus, and he doesn't have the students' test scores because his bag was switched with the woman with the screaming twins, and now he has 2 leaky bottles of milk.
Yeah. I've never switched bags with anybody on a bus. I don't know about you, Brad, but
no,
it's not hard to keep track of your own stuff. You just leave it in your lap.
I've never known a woman with twins to have a diaper bag that looked like my camera bag or my satchel. So I'm putting a little bit of got an episode on Mr. Turner's bag there. So.
I mean, you've seen the fancy ones, Brett. Maybe it could be slightly confusing.
No. But plot point there, he had to ride the bus because someone misjudged the size of the entire street, backed up his motorcycle.
Okay, again. Okay, also 2 words. Uncle Mike. Sorry, need more words.
Oh, well, hold on there. Hold on there.
Here's what I got for you. 2 words. Uncle Mike's. I'm gonna need more words. Uncle Mike's Motorcycle Repair Shop.
You're Uncle Mike.
Just thought I'd mention it. You can think about it tomorrow on the bus. I'll just be leaving a business card.
Lucky Leo's, bail bonds and prosthetics. One way or another, we get you on your feet.
Sorry, wrong uncle.
I love Uncle Mike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's really good to see that Sean has an interest in the family and that he's helping out the family here. And he's trying to help Mr. Turner out. Not just by trying to give him room to grieve and helping the class leave, but by, trying to get him a good deal on the bike repair. So we'll jump over to Mr. Feeney's class. We've got some French Revolution test exams going to be coming up.
Excuse me. Will we have to know who won?
Yes, you will need to know who won and by how much.
Sassy Feeney. Always one of my favorite Feenies.
Okay, so just real quick, I want to go back for a moment because there's another episode, Leap in Logic, of Turner take the bus because he didn't have a choice because, bike is damaged. I get that. Turner has insurance. right? I'd hope so.
One would assume.
So
Yeah.
even if like he didn't see it, maybe, I don't know, from the way it sounds, if like he knew what happened, but maybe didn't see the guy who did it, but like he had to have been able to get a claim for it.
Well, here's the thing. I will roll with this episode's got an episode for this reason. Turner clearly saw what happened because he describes it as someone ran into his bike and then backed over it or backed up. So he saw what happened. Now, good looking people, I don't know if you've ever had to deal with auto insurance, but even if you have uninsured or underinsured motorists, dealing with insurance companies can be a pain. I was once in an accident that I was not at fault for. I was in the right of way on a 1-lane bridge that was icy. A gentleman who I discovered later was driving his father's truck, decided to pull up at the other end of the bridge, blocking my way. The ice prevented me from being able to stop in time, and my car, which was much smaller, rolled up underneath his truck. This is at the top of a hill. He backed up. My car, when it rolled up underneath, dislodged a battery cable. My car died instantly. And since we're at the top of a hill, my car started rolling as soon as he backed up. Cars were moved from the point of impact. The 3 or 4 witnesses who were there when it happened left the scene. No one stuck around. Police officers were called. They showed up. They took they took our reports. He did not claim responsibility. Of course not. I was fully insured. He was insured. His insurance company was a bigger insurance company than my insurance company. The police officer called me the next morning to ask me which direction I was heading, just for the report for full disclosure, or for, I don't know why. I got a copy of the report. Good-looking people, the report listed us both heading the same direction for a head-on collision, which is impossible. If we're both heading the same direction, we can't collide head-on. And since both vehicles were moved, because he moved and my car rolled because I'm at the top of a hill and my car was dead and I didn't have an emergency brake on, they couldn't cite anyone because they had no one claiming responsibility, and the cars were moved from the point of impact, even though the point of impact was the far end of the bridge where I clearly had the right of way. And when his insurance adjuster came out, he assessed the damages to my car at about $2,000 without opening the hood to see what the damage was inside. And the damage to his car was $90 because I knocked off a fog lamp. Well, the insurance companies decided, since no one was cited, they would each pay 50%. I would get about $1,000 and he would get $45. And then my insurance company would charge me an extra $50 a month for my rates. So good-looking people, even if you are insured, and even if you have underinsured and uninsured coverage, your insurance can still be a nightmare to work with, and Mr. Turner could still be dealing with a lot of a mess if he even had that person's insurance information. So I can buy this.
Okay, that's fair. My only real thought was like, not saying that Uncle Mike's repair shop isn't sketchy, but like the fact that he's going forward with getting it fixed like within a day or two of the accident feels off to me.
It's also very likely that going through an insurance claim is going to take him 3 or 4 weeks to get into the shop and get the bike fixed.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that, Brett.
Just saying.
I don't doubt it. But also, Turner should have a backup plan. Anything would ever happen to his bike. And he clearly didn't. So,
Uncle Mike's.
What?
Uncle Mike's. That's the backup plan.
Yeah. Anywho,
yes,
we have our two storylines, our
yes,
two real storylines of Eric has grade problems and he's trying to take it more serious and ask the real questions like, will we need to know who won on the test?
Yes,
And
and by
Turner
how much?
needs to get his bike fixed out so that way he can ride his bike again. I'm sorry, bike people. I'm really sorry.
Yes. So Eric and Jason have a scheme. As C+ students, they've never experienced a B. They want Mr. Feeney to give them both Bs on the next couple tests so that they'll experience them and they'll be encouraged to do better. And so Mr. Feeney has some thoughts on this plan.
Aha. Then why don't we give elephants pants? Perhaps then they'd be inspired to buy coats.
Let's go.
Gentlemen, I have a radical idea of my own. Let's say for the next test or two, you both study very, very hard. And your better grades will then be deserved.
But see, Mr. Feeney, if we don't get a B, we can't go to Europe.
Are you serious about raising your grades?
Yeah.
Because if you are, I might recommend a senior teaching assistant.
You mean like a tutor?
Uh-huh.
And so there we go. Mr. Feeney's going to set them up with a tutor. And, I clipped it, but I can't find it for some reason. But maybe you've got the script open there. But Eric has a really, really clear definition of what a tutor is.
Yes, a 4-eyed, greasy-haired, zit-faced life support system for a book. Hi, I'm Toy Hart.
Yes. If I knew anything, would I need a tutor? Yes, Eric.
Can I just say, if they are going to ask this request, they need to invite him out to brunch. They need to get all of the cheese for the omelets. Like, they need to work on their pitch game because they don't have it right now.
Now, clearly, Jason and Eric are not as well practiced at scheming as Corey and Sean are.
It's really true. And it is a little disappointing that, that Eric is just dumb right now. Like, I know people say, well, Eric is really dumb as the show progresses. No, I think Eric kind of stays in the dumb zone. He just gets more fun with his dumb and more ridiculous. Because, right now, he is just dumb to be dumb. And that's it.
Yeah. He's
At
just
least
lazy. Mr. Feeney's got it. He's lazy. He just wants to catch Mr. Feeney in a good mood.
Right.
He doesn't think through trying to schmooze him.
Yes. We do get to our first Corey scene.
Yes. And Topanga's bringing him his homework. Earth science, algebra, English, shop. He's supposed to make something with that piece of wood. It's a shelf.
Yeah. I've taken shop classes. You don't get homework in shop.
No, you don't. But credit to him. He at least tried. It was
Now,
funny.
I will say that shop classes do have books. And so if he would have gotten a book that would have said, read this so that way you don't fall behind, that does make sense. Sometimes it is good to read how to do a thing.
Yes, very much so.
You don't lose a finger.
Oh yeah. And I like their little interaction here. I clipped some of it.
You have mono? As in the kissing disease?
I believe that's the one.
Corey Matthews, who have you kissed?
I feel so lightheaded. Topanga, is that you?
Cut that out!
Must sleep. Don't know for how long. Auntie M. Auntie M.
This is not over.
There's no place like home. There's no place like home. That was fun.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to say. I understand in the past they've kissed. I understand in the past they've gone on dates, all that jazz. They've been boyfriend, girlfriend like-ish. This is the first real step towards them actually talking about feelings and actually showing that they can go in that direction. So
Yeah, this is the first time we see some, I'll call it possessiveness, because there's, up to this point, like you said, there's been kissing, there's been relationship-like stuff, but this is the first time there seems to be any investment.
Yes, there's concern of potentially Corey actually kissing a girl. I mean, if she's been around, she would know that he has kissed other girls, but...
Yeah, she's been conveniently absent when he's been kissing other girls.
Yeah, isn't that the case? Although, I gotta say that potentially him being in a relationship with Wendy could have triggered something in Topanga.
Very possible. She could have seen, hey, he might be ready.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Corey Matthews, who have you been kissing? Did you notice that he was wearing a 76ers shirt?
I did notice that.
I'm going to clock all the Philadelphia paraphernalia. That's just,
at this point, it's just like a shirt, a jersey. That's it. They never really talk about
I'm still
them.
going to clock it. And then we're going to go back to Tori, Mistress Tori, and Jason. By the way, Tori Hart, played by Terry Ivins. It's the only time we're going to see her on Boy Meets World. 53 acting credits to her name. She is still active in Hollywood, has an upcoming project. Saw her in Doogie Howser, Coach, Baywatch. I typed Batwatch. Melrose Place, Married with Children. I had a long stint on All My Children, if you're a soap opera fan. The Last Exorcist, The Bay, and a lot more. But she is not getting along well with Jason, wants a cogent discussion on the excess of monarchy that led to the revolution. But with Eric, it's a little less formal. We get a little bit more friendly.
My attitude about history's always been, it's done, it's over, let's move on.
Eric, I've looked at some of your essays, and I must say you have an interesting style.
Well, thank you.
When you're writing about history, you never seem to be too concerned with names, dates, and what actually happened.
It's done, it's over, let's move on.
It's just beginning. It's far from over. So let's move on to someplace more comfortable.
Okay.
Someplace more comfortable.
Now, I don't know about you, Brett, but I have been tutored and I've done tutor-like things, but I don't know if actual high school tutors have access to, say, people's test scores and test responses and everything. So that's kind of weird.
Not typically, but Mr. Feeney did describe her as a senior teaching assistant at first. So she's probably not just a regular tutor. I'm not sure how that plays out in the Philadelphia school system, but I did clock that he did not just describe her as a tutor.
Right. Well, I mean, I know like TAs in college and GAs in college would actually grade tests and go through papers and whatnot. Quite often they would take a pass through and then they would inform professor of what scores were. Sometimes they check them themselves. A lot of times they didn't. But, you know, that's not that unreasonable. And I had many times where a grad student would be like, okay, here's your paper. Here's what you did. Let's talk about how you can do it better next time. And, you know, potentially, I guess Feeney could have given a copy of an old test and said, hey, this is the level that they're working on. You know, how can you help them?
Yep. I mean, it's possible. It could be episode's going to episode. It could be a very possible real thing that they're dealing with. But if she is a senior teaching assistant, Eric's dating a senior.
You know, he was dating a senior before. Her name was Linda.
Yeah, that's right. So they're going to go someplace more comfortable. We're going to go with Mr. Turner.
No. Let's not go past this, Brett. I will never get over Linda. I won't. I shall not. It's not going to happen.
I know. I miss Linda, too.
I like her.
Yeah, I do, too.
I like her.
How come?
So we head over to Uncle Mike's shop, and we get to see Uncle Mike again. We last saw him as the delivery man in Sister Teresa. Yeah, Tony. Now he's Uncle Mike, and we'll see him again as Uncle Mike one more time. Yeah. Mr. Turner's coming in. Uncle Mike's kind of evasive. His customer service skills are kind of lacking.
Do you have any of their interactions?
I didn't clip any of their interactions.
That's okay.
Well, not here at the beginning anyway.
Dear viewers, if you haven't watched the episode, you got to listen to just the man's delivery of everything, and just
it's beautiful.
It's pure gold,
and 50% of it is visual because it's forehead and eyebrows, and I do have a little bit later on, but he's very evasive. You wearing a wire? It's very
Why'd
much.
you come here
to get my bike fixed. So
it's a bike shop.
Yeah. Mind if I pat you down? No, without dinner first.
I do love that Sean pops in, and you could tell that Sean apparently works at Uncle Mike's.
He's got some grease on him. He's learning a trade. I like that.
Yeah. This doesn't come back ever. It should, but you know.
I know. It's disappointing. It was so great.
It is. Well, okay. Last season, we learned that he wants to get into the car fixing business. Mm-hmm. He is now fixing motorcycles. Why couldn't Sean not become a greaser, but had an interest outside of just girls and actually pursue that? And you see him in shop classes, and he has an interest outside of just, not doing anything.
Because then we'd have to get into continuity.
That's true. But, I mean, Sean really does feel like the type of guy who would be spacey during class, but you put him in an environment where he has to use his hands, and all of a sudden he's a savant and knows, he gets really curious about, this goes here and this does this, and, and all the ways that all these things work together. That feels right for a character like Sean.
It does. It looks like he's at home at Uncle Mike's,
He looks happy in the shop.
He does.
He never looks happy at school, but he looks happy and excited and full of energy.
Yeah, he does.
At the shop.
Yeah, and he wants Uncle Mike to take care of Mr. Turner like family. No.
Although, something is said here that I think is very, very important. Because Uncle Mike says, I miss your mother. If only she could see you now. And he goes, she is alive. He goes, oh, yeah, I have to give her a call. Now, technically, he could be talking about Verna. And just, they don't really talk all that much. So every now and then it's been a while, yada, yada. I think in that moment, though, he forgot what the ruse is. And because my Uncle Mike would know that Sean's real mom was a stripper. Sorry, spoilers to the future. Of her being a dancer, and that she passed away, and that Verna raised him, but was not his biological mother. And so for Sean, it's like, yeah, my mom is alive. He's like, oh yeah,
I should call her.
Yeah, I know it's not. I get that it's not. But in my head canon, adults can only do a ruse for so long before they forget, oh my gosh, I'm not supposed to say that.
Now who's giving the writers more credit?
Oh, there's no real credit. This is me putting in the gaps.
Well, they take a look at the bike. Oofa. And about $300.
Brett, have you ever gotten anything worked on and went, $300? We went from not being able to drive it at all to $300 and everything is fine.
Today, no. 1995, maybe.
Oh, fair.
Maybe.
I guess I should look at the I guess I'll say look at
I have not ever had to. I've not ever had to have a motorcycle repaired that had been hit in 1995. So I don't know what kind of damage it was. We never saw the damaged bike on screen. We saw the restored bike on screen.
Right.
But so and he just eyeballed it too. So I mean, I don't know. But either way, that's the number they set. Sean's a scholar of the family, and they're going to take care of him. So then we go to see
family.
No. So we transition. Tori and Eric decide to go to Chubby's for someplace more comfortable, and she is hitting on him quite aggressively. He finally picks up on it, and she just wants to give him the test answers so that she and him can do other things with their time together, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And there is our dilemma for young Mr. Matthews, Mr. Eric Matthews.
Sorry, I was just looking up inflation real quick, and I guess okay. So technically, something is like $300 in 1995. Roughly, it doubles at this point. So we're looking at almost $600. So for some of the work I know on different cars I've had, for some of them, that can be a hard pill to swallow, but it's one of those I go, well, it's what you have to do to keep it on the road and keep it safe. So it's not, I guess, that unreasonable potentially, especially depending on what the damage is and what they actually have to do to keep the bike safe. So because if nothing was truly damaged, it could be like framing or something else like that like a wheel could be just off or whatever, but like none of the actual like parts that make the bike go are damaged, then I guess technically that is not too unreasonable.
Yeah, I mean, we could be talking about some scuffing, maybe a broken strut, or a bent a bent tire frame. Just it could be something that looks a lot worse than it actually is. And Uncle Mike works on enough bikes that he can look at it and say, okay, yeah, that'll take me like 2 hours.
Right.
And I got the parts right here in the shop. I can just I mean, I'll say it's believable. 1995. He's cutting the guy.
And technically, too, if we think about it, like if this is a standard Harley, like it doesn't mention this episode, but next episode it mentions it. Potentially he has a guy who can get parts for cheap, or let's just say it fell off the back of a truck, if you know what I mean. So it's not that unreasonable for some of the stuff, I guess. So if there's not like a lot of stuff they have to order. So
yeah. So yeah, not so much episode's got an episode.
Let's just say that we believe it.
I'll believe it. I'll buy that for $1. So
right.
we'll transition to Eric and Jason coming into lunch.
It was brutal.
Yeah, at least it was multiple choice.
Oh, come on. It was a Feeney test. Each question gives you 11 choices. Hey, what'd you pick for that Crusades question? R? Shoot, I went with V.
Not like it really matters. Left half the test blank. Oh, that could hurt you.
Yeah. Should've just taken the answers when Tori offered them to me.
Gee, that was the end of a very good story. Perhaps you'd like to tell me the rest?
I didn't take the answers because it would have been cheating.
Yeah.
She wanted something from me in exchange.
What?
Me.
Stupid.
Now, I will say I have done tests before where like I've had like almost all the answers and then a couple of extra answers, and they're like, hey, all of the answers are right here at the front. You have to figure out where they go. So those tests aren't bad. I've never seen a 11 choice multiple choice before, but
Yeah, I think the most options I've had on a multiple choice are maybe 6. I don't think I've had any more than that.
But those are like, is it A, B, C, D, all the above, or is it A and just B?
Yeah. It's not usually like, Mr. Feeney I think Mr. Feeney loves to create tests a little too much.
Potentially. But he hasn't changed it all year or from last year, apparently.
Yeah, because apparently he would believe that Eric could have bought answers off of last year.
Yeah. But again, this comes back to my head canon. Just because they say it's 7th grade doesn't mean it's actually happening when Corey's in 7th grade. It's 2 years of Corey being in middle school that he's taking cherry-picking stories from.
Mm-hmm. There you go. So we have this lovely interaction between Eric and Jason where Eric fills Jason in, and Mr. Feeney stops by to break it up because for some morbid reason he wanted to check on their progress. Jason got a B, and he's so excited until Mr. Feeney informs him that now that he has his B, he expects nothing less from him for the rest of his career.
You know, you take the joy out of everything.
Eric, on the other hand, managed to get an A- despite leaving half the test blank.
We know that Tori cheated for Eric, but I don't think she cheated for Jason.
No, I think Jason legitimately did the work and got his B. I think Tori's tutoring for him worked.
Yeah. You mean made it actually professional and said this is what you're going to do or else?
Yes, I think Mistress Tori actually did the work and did well with Jason. I think she's a very apt, a very, very good tutor when she's actually being a tutor. But so Eric finds Tori and discovers that she really does not have much respect for him in the area of intelligence, that she effectively just views him as just another pretty face, and that he shouldn't waste his time on trying to improve his intelligence because he has other things going for himself, his looks.
Yeah, I don't like this part.
Yeah. And of course, they go with the joke of, I'm not a bimbo. And he walks into the girls' bathroom and walks out and says, how come you guys get a couch? It's an interesting turn on the traditional roles of looking down on a girl and questioning her ability to be intelligent because she's pretty. And it's not something that Eric is used to because he doesn't usually put a lot of stock in his intelligence. He's all right with being a pretty face, but the one time he wants to be proving himself to be smart, and not to anyone, but just to himself, the one person he put his trust in to help him prove that he can be smart is the one person who's undercutting all of that.
You can tell that he wants to do good.
Mm-hmm.
He does want to be able to look in the mirror and say, I did accomplish this. And the fact that she took that away from him immediately soured him.
Mm-hmm.
It made her not be able to be trustworthy.
Yep.
But of course, we go to Uncle Mike's shop.
Yep. And
where the bike is brand new looking.
It is. And hey, you sure it's not? It's my bike. Yeah. Check out your serial number. It's filed off. I did that for you.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's illegal, but whatever.
Oh, it's very illegal. So Uncle Mike hands Mr. Turner his bill, and it's quite high. There's like 1,600 hours of labor on there.
Yeah. It felt like it.
And there's this lovely just 5 seconds of interaction here I wanted to share.
Maybe you'd like to take it up with our complaint department.
I would.
What?
Which gets
So
Sean
good.
coming out. This is the point where Sean comes out and discovers that that Uncle Mike's taken Mr. Turner for a ride. And Sean stares him down. Despite the fact that Sean pretty much looks eye to eye with Uncle Mike's belly button, he stares him down, and Uncle Mike backs off. My brother's son. All right. Suddenly I'm a man of my word.
Yes.
They go ahead. It's $300. Deal is done. And we find out Uncle Mike is actually Chet's brother. He is Sean's uncle on his dad's side.
Yeah.
And we still haven't met Chet. We have met Sean's uncle before we meet his dad.
Yeah. But when we finally meet Chet Hunter, it's worth it.
Oh, it is worth the wait, yes. So we transition to the Matthews kitchen. Eric is trying to study. For some reason, there is another exam right on the tail end, or just right immedially after this last one. But there's this moment with...
This so headcanon for this episode is this story is happening at least a week or two apart from each other, because there's no way you would have these tests so close to each other. You just even Feeney wouldn't do that.
No, but there's moment between Eric and Alan. It's brief, but I like it.
He's actually sitting at a table reading a book. Where's the girl?
There are no girls. There are never any girls. You know, there are no babes in all of history. You know what they do when they finally find one?
They burn her at the stake.
Dopes.
Proud of you. I gotta go. I got a girl.
And it's that moment where Alan, he jokes with Eric, but he lets him know, I'm proud of you. He sees that Eric is doing the work, that he is working on bringing up his grades. He's working on not just goofing off and being lazy.
No, he's trying.
Mm-hmm. He's seeing him putting in the effort, and he's proud of him. He wants him to know that. I know a lot of times that as much as I talk, I don't always use the words when I need to. And so there's a lot of times where I will need to put in that extra effort to make sure that my kids know that I'm proud of them and the effort that they put in. And so it's a good reminder to see another dad do that.
Yeah.
And then Eric decides to call Tori and see if she can give him a little bit of help focusing on studying, because it's going to be a killer test. Once again, she undercuts him. She doesn't think that he has it in him to do well, and she just gives him the answers instead. You don't have to use them. Just take them down. It's just in case.
Yeah. And again, though, like, that's just... It is A, not okay, and B, and the bigger thing is that she does not believe in him for a moment.
Yeah, so
things would be different if Linda was around.
That's right. If Linda was around, then Tori would not have a shot with Eric, and she'd have to be a real tutor with him.
Wouldn't that have been an interesting episode, Eric having to choose between two girls?
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
That would be fantastic.
So Eric winds up cheating on the test the next day. Comes home. Alan and Amy are proud of him and give him a new backpack, lots of praise. And he is just filled with so much remorse that he goes back to the school and back to Mr. Feeney's office and confesses to cheating.
Yep.
Doesn't want to give up who gave him the answers, but he has to tell him who, because, you know, if Mr. Feeney punishes two people, he gets a bonus at the end of the week.
It's that little sass he gives that just is perfect.
It's great. And of course, Eric, he wants to know why. And Eric tells him it's because he saw the Europe trip slipping away. But Mr. Feeney sees through that, and he tells him that's superficial. He wants to know the deeper reason behind why he cheated. And I love that Mr. Feeney sees that, and he wants to push for that. He wants Eric to be honest with himself.
Yeah. Well, Eric is scared to put himself out there. Mm-hmm. There's no way around it. And this was a scary opportunity for him to try better. Mm-hmm. And he failed.
Yeah. And Eric does share. He shares that he just doesn't really care about history. And Mr. Feeney, I clipped a little bit here about Mr. Feeney's retort.
The only thing that limits you, Mr. Matthews, is your laziness. I mean, you're just looking for an excuse to never get the grades that I know you're capable of getting.
I'm not capable.
And they're just grades.
Just grades? Oh, well. I mean, it's just Europe. And they're just girls. And it's just a beach. Unless you happen to know that on that beach, in June of 1944, 150,000 troops landed and began the liberation of Europe. So that 50 years later, those girls could run around on that beach in freedom.
When I say sassy Feeney is one of my favorites, but passionate Feeney is also right up there too.
Yeah.
Especially when he's being passionate about one of his students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's 100% giving truth bombs to Eric.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how he's making it clear of this is why this is important. And if you're paying attention, then you would know it's more than just about pretty girls in bikinis. It's about what actually occurred there.
Mm-hmm.
And honoring that.
And it's not important to get the grade. It's important because of what happened. It's important to know that and to internalize it. And so Tori stops in and she winds up inadvertently confessing to being Eric's accomplice in the cheating.
Yeah, this is another... Okay, let's just say it's a 90s has to 90s, because this is always how TV shows would go. A person would get confronted, and then they would
How could you do that?
tell on themselves somehow. And
yeah, it's a little clean, but yeah. And so... But it does open the door to another great Mr. Feeney moment.
You see no potential in him as a student?
I just don't think he's the student type.
I see. And are you the teacher type? Or the type that just writes people off?
It doesn't mean that I didn't like you.
Well, you certainly don't respect him. Well, this is what I get for selecting a pretty girl to be a teaching assistant.
Excuse me?
Oh, you resent that? Because growing up with a pretty face, you had to work twice as hard to be taken seriously? I should think you, more than most, would want to help this young man have his chance of being taken seriously.
Are you firing me, Mr. Feeney?
Did you learn something today, Miss Hart?
Yes, sir, I did.
Well, then you can go.
There's so much to love about that moment.
yeah. No, it shows that Feeney is a good teacher. And it's not just about grades to him. It's about you becoming a better person.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a great moment.
Yeah, and he is willing to let someone take what they learn in a moment and continue on learning.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if either one of them, I wonder if Tori got detention.
Well, maybe. But we get to the end, Brett.
Yes. Back in Corey's bedroom in an Eagles shirt. And the mystery is solved. Corey was not making out with another girl. He was sneezed on by Steve Nelson. But Corey fights this. Corey fights this. Oh, it was right about the time that I was making out with Jennifer Connors. And I don't usually do this, but I clipped part of this. So we'll end with what I clipped on the tag.
You're a pig.
You only say that because you like me.
Oh, you think so, huh?
Yeah, I do.
And do you like me?
Only if you tell me if you like me.
Why should I tell you that?
Because if you tell me how you feel about me, then I'll tell you how I feel about you.
Okay. Okay, I like you. You know I like you. Now you like me or what?
Okay, the way I feel about you. Come closer. The way I feel about you is...
Corey? Corey! I hate you!
Well, I think I handled that pretty well.
Yeah, no, Corey. No, you didn't.
The 7th grade love.
Yeah, middle school love.
Yes, middle school feelings and emotions.
It gets a little bit more mature next year.
It does, yes. But that is the episode of By Hook or By Crook. So, Tyler, do you have any deep dives for us?
People. Am I the only one who read the summer reading list?
Alrighty, so let's start off with traveling through Europe. Now, I don't have the answers on like how old you have to be to travel all by yourself, but I'm just gonna say like this: if you're not an actual adult, you should not be traveling crazily around different countries. Let's just have that as a standard. So roughly each day, like staying, like backpacking through different hostels and whatnot, you're looking like $75 to $125 per day for where you're going to sleep at night. That's in Western Europe. That's like where most of the big ones are. Spain, France, used to be UK, Italy, Germany, all those places. And then in Eastern Europe, it's like $40 to $90. Now, I will say that Eastern Europe is a little bit more on the crazier side than Western, so be advised. Now, there is differences of like where you may stay as far as what you may pay. Not huge differences in all honesty. Like London to Paris is almost the same, like $5 difference of $35 to $85. Dublin's the same as Paris. Amsterdam, 35 to 65. Berlin is like 23 to 45. Budapest, 18 to 40. So all these are somewhere around like the teens to 30s-ish to a wide variety. Let's go with mono, shall we? Infectious mononucleus, also called mono, is a contagious disease. Epstein-Barr virus, EB, most common cause of infectious mononucleus, but other viruses can also cause this disease. It is common among teenagers and young adults, especially college students. At least 1 of 4 teenagers and young adults who get infected with EB will develop infectious. Well, the mono is what it is. Gosh, I'm reading from a actual, like, doctors wrote these things. Some symptoms include extreme fatigue, fever, sore throat, head and body ache, swollen lymph node in the neck and armpit, swollen liver and spleen, or both, rash. Typically, these viruses spread amongst commonly through bloody and fluids, especially saliva. However, these viruses can be spread through blood, semen, during something that parents do together, blood transfusion, organ transplant. Basically, the only way to fight this disease is drinking fluid and stay hydrated, getting plenty of rest, and taking over-the-counter medication for the pain and fever.
And never kissing again.
Yep, and you can't kiss ever again. Basically, looking at pricing and sometimes how people take advantage of people that have had bikes for not that long, places such as what Uncle Mike's, could probably be called for doing some of these things. But annual servicing for bikes is like 4,000 miles to about 20,000 miles. So every 5 months or so. Essentially, motorcycle maintenance will cost around 1,000, and sometimes there's additional charges as well based on what your requirements are whenever you take them in for things like inspections. Basically, from a rough range of 800 to 1,500 is what someone could be paying per year-ish on bike maintenance. Cheating. Why do we do it, Brett? I don't understand. So cheating refers to using various types of materials, information, or devices that are not allowed when completing an academic task. It can include communicating or test takers without the consent of the proctor, using a firm for searching for information on the internet, etc. In the 1940s, only 20% of college students admitted to cheating. Nowadays, we're looking at about 75 to 98% of students who have done some form of cheating in the past. Now, some reasons for cheating: lack of time or poor time management, fear of failure, anxiety about grades, desire to help classmates, academic overload, stress, etc. So, 95% of cheaters don't get caught, which is fascinating. Now, I will tell you, and I've shared the story before, but I cheated on a quiz once, and no one knew I did it besides myself. And so I think this is mostly what it's saying is like, hey, a lot of people have done some form of cheating, and it really just comes down to that person and their understanding of what it means to cheat. Last but not least, Brett, concern came up on whether or not it is easy or difficult to be good looking and people taking people serious. 5 disadvantages of being beautiful. Beautiful people are less likely to be hired. Sometimes. Essentially, what that's just saying is that sometimes people who are good looking are not trusted like those that are not as good looking. And people don't just want to give a job to someone with a pretty face. They want to make sure that that person knows what they're talking about and is ready for that. Another is disadvantage of being beautiful. Beauty is beastly, basically just referring to the fact of how wild people will get in order to be appreciated and noticed. So for example, is a beautiful woman may be at a disadvantage when applying for a job which is associated with masculinity, like a prison guard or a machine engineer. Pretty are perceived as less talented. Basically just saying that, hey, there's a perception that if you have talents that are not academically sound, who cares? Our next one is lucky to be pretty. If beautiful people are stressful, it is because of their talent or it's just their looks. And last but not least is social rejection. That's a thing that people need to understand, is that even if you are someone who is beautiful, like you and I are, Brett, and so many of our listeners are.
Thank you for noticing.
Sometimes it may come up that, you still aren't accepted for who you are. And that is something that can definitely mess with you. If you're like me and have a good tendency of being able to predict what people are going to say, exactly what they're going to say, then it's understandable when you don't really want to go to those people. I got another thing, but I'm going to save that for a different day. So those are the deep dives.
All right.
You know anything about the Odyssey? Huh? Did I say you could talk?
I didn't teach you that.
My friend Mr. Matthews will lead the discussion.
Do I have to draw you a picture?
So what did we learn today? Well, I'll go first. I usually make you go first.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to go with the good standby of don't sell yourself short when other people sell you short. And I'm gonna follow it up with don't allow your comfort and your laziness to limit your potential. Don't get so easy and comfortable in your own. We call it resting on your laurels, and it's an old expression, but don't get so comfortable doing what you've always done that you forget to reach beyond that you were made to be able to do more than just exist. What about you, Tyler?
I learned it wasn't that outrageous for someone in the 90s to spend about $300 to get their bike up and running again.
All right.
No, I mean, for a more serious answer, I would say that it's just reinforcing that importance of being honest with yourself and making sure you value you. Because if you don't do that, then you're going to hurt yourself trying to do things for other people.
All right. So
I'm right?
No, you're exactly right.
So am I done with my education? Can I go?
So what would you grade, by hook or by crook?
I mean, this is a great episode, and I really enjoyed it. This is probably the weakest of all of the Eric-centric episodes, so I'm going to have to go with like a B+.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and give it an A.
Nice.
I can work through a lot of the episode stuff. I think the hardest one for me to get through is that whole Europe trip being the end all be all. I think it needed to be something else.
That's a really hard pill to swallow.
A lot of the other stuff I can work through and headcanon and stuff, but the heart of the episode is gold. I can't speak ill of any of it.
Yeah.
So, good-looking people, I've got a dad joke for you.
Hit me, then we go to bed.
All right. Well, since you're tired, I asked my smartphone what to do when I feel sleepy in the middle of the day. It turns out there's an app for that.
Very nice.
So, good-looking people, that is the end for us for today. As always, you can reach out to us through our social media channels at dadsmeetworld. You can also drop us an email at dadsmeetworld@gmail.com and check us out on YouTube at dadsmeetworld.
Yes, check us out. Check out the things. Let's get more comments.
That's right. Comments, messages, and hey.
Reviews.
That's right. Reviews. We love 5-star reviews. Right now, I gave us a 5-star review. And we love for more because that lets more people find us.
Yep.
And share us around on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and whatnot. We love when people do that for us because it lets more people find us. We love to have more people find us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to spread the love of Boy Meets World, and it's also nice when people talk about us too.
We're not egotistical. We just like to spread the love.
Exactly. Spread the love.
All right.
Send us things.
So until next time, good looking. I'll see you.
Bye, good looking.
You can find Dads Meet World on Facebook, Twitter, and probably a few other places just by searching for Dads Meet World. Dads Meet World is a production of Headfirst Studios. Headfirst Studios. Tell your story. That's good.
Wow. I cannot tell you how many times I closed my eyes during this recording.
You are beat.
Yeah, I can feel it. I just I don't know why I'm so exhausted. I just am. It has been a fun year for sure.
That's one way to put it.
I will say that I was thinking about the whole us. Okay, stop trying to talk while you're putting in a passcode. Now, we know that blank. Gosh, I'm blanking on her name right now. Why? Tori. We know that. Sorry. Try that again. We know actual doctors wrote these things. So some symptoms. Wow, I am feeling the mode right now. I can feel myself crashing. Not in a good way. Hello, I'm coming to you now because you may have realized that I didn't talk a whole lot in the last little bit of this episode. And that is because as we were recording, I was starting to fall asleep. I was on the couch, and I've had a tendency to fall asleep on the couch and get really comfortable and cozy. I think I had the cat on the lap at the time, so yeah, kind of fell asleep just a little bit. I do apologize for that. I hope you enjoyed the rest of the episode, and we were lively and engaged. Thank you for Brett for carrying a good amount of that part of the episode. I promise this won't happen again, and I hope everyone has a wonderful, wonderful week. So much love, and thank you so much. Bye.